going right through a first, I don't know, what was it, day 6, 7, right through a week and a half. And really just seeing a lot of guys step up, right, and continue to grow and make the growth we needed them to make from spring. Couldn't be more excited about the growth of the guys on offense, specifically some of the ones that we needed to take the next steps, which I think has been huge. I think Garrett's done an excellent job of leading, but I think you're starting to see other guys really be vocal, bring a lot of energy, and I think that's countless guys. They enjoy being around each other, and that's what I think has been fun to see. I think from a coaching staff down to the players, I think everybody enjoys being around each other and is pulling the rope in the same direction, and I think that's critical. And I think we're going to have the opportunity to challenge people in multiple different ways because of the different talents and abilities of some of the guys that we have. And I think that's showing out here in fall camp. That's always the biggest thing. But we need to continue to grow, right? We need every day on our way through August and making sure that we're having the growth that we need to have in different situational football opportunities that we'll really have here from here on out in camp. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to us being able to get down into some of the details of that over the next few days. That'll be a lot of fun, and watching the guys attack that. But I think they've been fantastic so far. Really, out of the multiple days, I thought they've come out with energy and juice. Really, all but maybe one. I thought they woke up halfway, but really they're bringing that. And if they do that and establish how we play in terms of physicality and effort, it'll be a lot of fun to watch. So that's been the key for us.
Coach, Nick Anderson was a guy that was kind of trying to come along during the spring. Where do you feel like he is in terms of just feeling comfortable, and kind of how would you evaluate what you've seen on the outside out there?
Yeah, I think he's had a really good camp. Obviously the first couple of days were he was still going through some protocol and all that, but I think he's had an extremely good camp. So I couldn't be more excited about the way he's prepared and the consistency at which he's played every day. And I think Coach Kelly's made some remarks about him. He's extremely talented. He can help us in a lot of ways, and I just want to continue to see him stack those days over and over. But he definitely is a lot more comfortable within the offense than he was in the spring. So that's been fun to see and watch him work and watch him gel with Nuss and gel with the other guys. It's been good. But I think that whole room is exciting, from some guys that were here before to some of the new guys that have come in. I think everybody's flashed in different ways and had really good days. I know a lot of it's been documented with you guys being able to be out there, but from I can go through all the names, but you've seen from guys who have making some plays down the field to the way they're blocking on the perimeter, and I think that's probably my biggest. The thing I'm happiest about, because that's how we define how we play, right? The intensity level at which we play, well, a lot of it's going to be defined on the perimeter, and I think the way those guys are getting after it, I couldn't be more excited. I want them to set the tempo out on the edge, and I think we've been able to see that, right, as a whole group. Not only the catches, right, not only that, but being able to set the tempo out there physically. It's been good to see.
Coach, last year was Garrett's first year as a full-time starter, your first year as a full-time play caller. What do you think the two of you learned together, and how much do you think you can improve together doing this in year two?
Yeah, so I think, and we've talked about this before, I think for Garrett, he really had learned everything that he could learn through practice and preparation. He needed to go play and be put in some of those situations and see how they feel. Positive or negative, right? Situational. What can I do? What can I not do? Where can I always say, can you touch a stove, right? Right? How hot is it, right, in those type of situations? And I think that growth has been him, and that's a lot of it, first-year starter to second-year starter, and having those technical things that I need to work on because I know what happens to me in a game situation, and I know what I need to be thinking, what I need to do with my feet, and where I can miss or where I can maybe be a little bit more aggressive. And that's what I've seen his growth. I think the other piece is I think he has full command of the offense in terms of, from an understanding standpoint, in the run game especially. I think that was one thing that probably that he needed to improve on in terms of just making sure that that we were doing the right thing at all times in the run game. I thought he did an excellent job in the pass game. But that's kind of one of his growth, is protecting the run game with his feet and with his brain, and I think he's made that. The last piece would be his leadership, and I think that's from going out and playing the way he did last year. He has full command, right? It's not just because of his personality and work ethic, but it's also because of his play on the field, and I think he has full command of our team, and I think he's a definite leader, and he couldn't be more proud of the way he's made that progress, and I think going from year one to year two and just evolving in different ways. I think we have different people though, right? We're a different team, different offense than we were a year ago. A lot of talent last year, a lot of talent this year, but we're going to make sure that we adapt it to who we have and put them in positions to use their talent and skill to attack defenses. And I think we have a lot of pieces that allow us to do a lot of different things. So that's what we're excited about, and that's what we're making sure we're building every day. Did some of it in spring, right? Some of it in summer, and now putting it into effect in fall camp. But I think, obviously, a lot of those things you guys have had the opportunity to see. But it's been good. I think the kids are taking heed to it, and I want to see them continue to do it, especially as we get more situational throughout August.
Yeah, Joe, right here. Just first several days of practice, it really looks like you guys have put a heavy emphasis on the run game and just trying to get that going a little bit more. Just what have the conversations been like between you, Alex Atkins, Brad Davis, Frank Wilson, just on how you guys can go about being a more efficient run team, and what are some of your early signs of progress that you're seeing, I guess, out there in that respect?
Well, I think obviously, I'm here to talk about this year, not last year, but we got to run the football, right? You got to run the football in the SEC, and and I think that's critical, right? So establishing that in different ways, and I think we've looked at some scheme things. We've looked at some personnel things, right? It's a combination. I think having Caden Durham as a second-year player, obviously he's an electric player and a really good football player, but he still was a true freshman last year that came in June, right? So having him as a second-year player, he's a lot better football player today than he was at this time last year. Well, that's because Frank Wilson's an excellent football coach. Our coaches in the weight room do an unbelievable job, right? And the development program that Coach Kelly's built within this building. So I think, that just in general, right? Some of those guys getting better, right, within the development. And I think, right, Garrett's understanding of, right, how he can help. And then there's some schematic things where we're going to be able to put some guys in positions to make sure we can create some more explosives in the run game. And I think that's the key, right, is creating explosives in the run game. But I have been pleased with what we've done. I think you're seeing some of those explosive runs, right, show up in practice.
Kind of like you talked about with Garrett, what about your own growth? What did you do? How much self-scout did you do over the summer? Where did you feel like you could improve or did improve?
No, it's a good question. I mean, I think there was a ton of reflection, right, on me, on us as an offensive staff, on us as players, on us as quarterback, right? And I think it all fits together, right? It all fits together. And how can we build an appropriate, right, an offensive attack around the players that we have to highlight their strengths? And I think that's what really has been our focus, and using other creative ways to do that, right? And, I think we're, every year we're a different team. So I think that's really been the biggest approach, is how can we do different things to create maybe some easier opportunities for Garrett and for our offense to create some explosives. And that, whether that be in the run game, whether that be in the pass game, or whatever that might be. And then I think also, too, defenses are evolving, right? I think we saw some things last year that we didn't see the year prior, just in terms of some of the coordinators that are in the league. So being able to adapt to some of that and fit some of our concepts, run game, pass game, screen game, to make sure that we have great answers for what we're going to see, and trying to be a step ahead, thinking that way. And, I think our big thing is this year our focus is going to be keep it tight, keep it smaller, and really let our guys play fast with the answers, right? Have an answer within every play that we're going to call. And I think that will help us. That will help us a lot. Continue to be more efficient and take advantage when the opportunity comes to be explosive.
Hey, Joe, can you give us your assessment of the offensive line through the first full week?
Yeah, I think our tackles have played extreme. Obviously, we have a lot of competition at guard, and I think you're seeing flashes of different guys daily who are playing really well. I think our tackles, the two guys coming into spring, where those two guys had, are going to be first-year starters, and I think definitely when you watch, they have been excellent. excellent in terms of their growth, right? They got to keep coming. They got to get better every day. But I've been really pleased with what they've done. I think the guards, there's a lot of competition, which has been fun to see. Guys are having to come out every single day and show up. And I think Braylon's played extremely good at center. And I think we have a couple other guys who could, we have some depth at center, which is nice. And then I think, you see some of the young guys who are now starting to come on. I think this is the second half of camp where you'd like to see some of the freshmen or second-year players start to push and take that next step and challenge some of the guys that maybe are in front of them right now. And that'll be the big thing. Our defense throws a lot at us, a lot at us from different fronts, different pressures, and seeing those, and once they get to rep them, and then understand how it feels and how to attack that. So I like the individual growth, and I like the collective growth of the offensive line. But just like the entire offense, we're going to need every day to get fully prepared for what we need to do this fall.
A healthy Chris Hilton, what does he do for this offense?
Well, I think he's obviously his speed. I think you can look in the last couple games last year, our ability to attack vertically really changes when he's out there. I think Chris, I think Barryon, I think Nick, I think Xavier's playing better in terms of in that area of his aspect of his game. Being able to push the ball down the field is a huge thing. Chris has been consistent. I think he has a great attitude, great body language, and is attacking every day. And that's when he does that, he's going to play really good football. I've been excited for him. I know he's been through a lot, but he definitely brings another element to our offense that is an important piece, right? When safeties come down, we need to be able to push the ball down the field, and Chris absolutely helps us because ultimately it's about scoring points. It's not just about yards, right? Yards is one thing, but we got to score points, and that comes from explosive. A lot of times comes from explosive play touchdowns, and he definitely gives us the opportunity to do that. So it's been exciting to watch him. Exciting to watch him this spring, but I think fall camp he's dialed in. It's been good.
Joe, the addition of Bauer Sharp, what has that meant to y'all? Not just in terms of catching the ball, he's looked very good doing that, but blocking. It seems like that's an important element of y'all's offense, having the tight end involved.
Yeah, I think that's two things. One, I think the whole tight end room's done great. I think Alex is doing a great job with those guys. The growth in Tradez, I think what Donnie's doing on a day-to-day basis in terms of his consistency. But Bauer's been huge, not just in the tight end room, but also offensively. I think he brings a mindset to our practice. I think he brings a mindset to our offense, and I think our guys feed off of that, right? And that's what I think has been critical. He plays hard every snap. He's going to give you everything he's got, and I think that's a physicality and violence in the run game. Then also, he's twitchy at the top of routes. He's been able to get separation, and he's a really good ball carrier with the football. Once he catches it, so he's been an awesome addition. Couldn't be more excited about him, but couldn't be more excited about then the growth that Tradez has had, and what Donovan's brought to the room as well. And just I think there's we have a lot more flexibility, maybe with more multiple people than maybe what we've had in the past.
Hey, Coach, you're right. Second row. What do you like about Alex Atkins specifically when it comes to the creativity side of just helping with the run game, and what has that collaboration looked like so far?
Yeah, well, Alex is a really smart football coach to go along with the other guys who have on the offensive staff. I think we got some great minds in there. We're able to think outside the box, but also we have really good relationships in the room, so it allows us to challenge each other, right? But in the right way, and not just those guys, but also some of our assistants, right? I think there's some extremely creative minds when it comes to throughout the room. But Alex has just brought. I think for him, one, obviously he's done some different things in his past. Obviously Florida State, in the past couple of years is something that everybody would talk about. But when you go back before that. He's been around offenses for a long time at a lot of different places and had to do a lot of different things. So I think that experience and that ability to poke holes in some things and make sure we set things up properly, I think he's been a welcomed addition that way. And I think we already were needing to head in a certain way, and I think adding another creative mind to do that has helped us tremendously. And I think it was something we were going to, getting back to the Selfscout question, right? Something we were are already needing to do, and I think he just brought a creative mind to do that. But he's got a fantastic family. He's an awesome person. He fits in to the culture that we've had in the offensive staff room for the last several years.
Hey, Joe. Due to, I guess, recent events, what's your confidence level in Van Buren and Hurley and Jawan at those backup quarterback spots, and what needs to continue to happen in order to get you to the level which you feel like they could go out there and help you win games?
Well, I think they're all in different stages, obviously. Michael played a lot of football, so in terms of experience and understanding what it's like to get hit, you know what I mean? What it's like to throw an interception and have to come back and play the next drive. I think he has a ton of those experiences that are hard to prepare somebody for if they haven't gone through it, right? So I think he brings that level and he understands what it's going to take. I've been really proud of his growth, just his approach daily. Since he's gotten here, I think you've really seen him mature and go into being a second-year player. It's been fun to watch. He's a fun guy to be around. He's kind of quiet initially, so we just make him yell around the hallways, right? Which he does. Which he's fun though. He takes hard coaching well. He wants to be great. From the spring, I mean, we have a lot of offense. This is a big offense, and I think learning all that, right, was a lot for him initially. He's really smart, but it's just a lot. And taking it into the summer, working at it, and then into August, I think he's had his best the last couple of days. Seeing him take more command, understand it, and he grows. Every rep he has, he grows, right? He grows, and that's what I want to see. I think some things technically he continues to get better at and make them more and more of a habit. It's been fun to have Colin back out there and getting reps. He's so talented, and he's really smart. Has great vision. His thing is a lot of these reps are brand new, right? So learning, coming back, correcting it. Learning, coming back, correcting it. He makes some freaky throws, right? And then he'll do something like a freshman, right? But as long as he keeps growing every day and slowly knocks those freshman things out, he has shown the ability to do everything that we need him to do. And I think so. Their growth every day, it's different in the room, right? Garrett's in one stage, and Mike's in one stage, and Colin's in one stage. So going through and doing those things on a daily basis, and they're all different, and challenging them in different ways has been a lot of fun. And I think, Coach Rattay and Coach Holtz have done helping, a ton with that, specifically with those two guys, has been really good. And then Jawan just brings a lot of different options to the offense. Obviously he's a different style of player than the other guys. Again, he's been fun in the room because he's going from being a first-year player to being a second-year player, and you can see his confidence, his personality showing, and continuing to grow. And I think he's developing in the position. But obviously, he's a guy that can do a lot of different things.
You touched on Blake and the defense that you're seeing out there. I think we're pretty familiar with what we have in the second level of that defense, but that pass rush that we've seen, and how improved is that secondary from your perspective?
Oh, I think they've made a ton of just when you watch now players playing fast, right? The implementation of the defense, right, and the structure, so that there's less thinking, right, more ability to tinker and have different little things that they want to do based on alignments. And I think they're playing really smart football, but also I think there's a lot of really good athletes over there too. I think the secondary is playing extremely well, and I think the whole front's playing well. They pose a lot of problems, right? And it's a good thing for us, right? Because then they make an adjustment, then we got to see it, and we got to make that adjustment. And I think that's great for our offensive line. I think our O-line's handled it really well. That's what I was talking about earlier. In terms of some of the different things that they've seen in a matter of 5-6 days. Which has been good, but it's great for us to see. I think they got some twitchy guys inside coming off the football, which is going to be really good and good to watch on the other side. You know what I mean? When we don't have to play them, so that'd be nice. But I think Blake does a great job. They have an unbelievable staff. I think the staff camaraderie together has been really good this offseason and leading into this fall. So it's been fun to see. But it's the camaraderie between the two sides of the football. And just getting after it, kind of one day, drill to drill, whatever that might be. And I think you see relationships across the football, right, from whoever it might be, right? Defensive guys, offensive guys living together, hanging out with each other. It creates that camaraderie that we're going to need, right? That's critical to our success as a team.
When you talk about us having more command of the run game, does that show up in like what he's doing pre-snap, making the right checks at the line of scrimmage? How has he grown in that regard?
Yeah, so I think he can just handle more, right? In terms of he can handle more things, and understanding, right? That's usually the last thing to come for a quarterback, because first they gotta, if they can't execute on third down, then it doesn't really matter, right? They can't play, right? So one, they got to be able to do that, right? Which he was really good at, right? But I think you've seen his growth come along and taking the same understanding into the run game. And not just checks, also when to put the ball out on the perimeter, when not to, right? When to hand it off, when to put it out on the perimeter, when to pull the ball, right? When, all those things. And I think it's a conglomeration of all of it. But that's what's been good for him. He's attacked it this offseason. He understands why it's important, and he understands his role in it, right? And it's not just him, right? It's all of us. And I think that's what running the football is, and early down offense is. It takes all 11 working together, and he's definitely being able to take the next steps in his role in that. And I think that's going to help us tremendously make sure that we're putting ourselves in position to give our O-line the best angle so they can come off the football and we can make plays in the run game.
Mark Hawkins, the Boo Sports. Coach, which freshman player or players have stood out to you so far in fall camp?
I'm assuming you're saying true freshmen. Well, I mean, I think there's a bunch of guys that are playing extremely well. Obviously Harlan Berry's getting the opportunity to get a lot of reps, and I think he's taking advantage of them. Doing really well. I think Carius Kern playing offensive line as a true freshman against some of the cats we're blocking every day is not just something. Will Campbell and Emory Jones played as true freshmen. It's like, oh yeah, that's normal, right? No, that's not normal, right? That's not normal. So him go out there and play the way he's playing consistently, I think has been awesome. But I mean, even for some of the guys that just showed up, I think Teron Francis is doing fantastic. I think has been fun to see, and how he's progressed from high school to college. He wasn't a guy who was here in the spring. I mean, I could go on and on. We've been pleased with all the guys. It's been fun to get Tyler Miller out there. I think he's extremely talented, going to be a good player. So when you look along, at the whole group, I'm excited about the opportunity with the group of the freshmen and the second-year players. We got some good young players on offense that we can develop and get in the program, and have opportunities to make a huge impact in the future. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, guys.